No, you did not read the title wrong. There really is a company that is on its way to building the first spaceport in human history, with artificial gravity, a capacity of around 1,250 guests, and a target completion of 2027. Although we think this may be a bit of a stretch. Dubbed to be the world's first space construction company, Orbital Assembly Corporation recently revealed to the world details about its impressive Voyager Station, a sort of stopgap between Earth and outer space. The company, in connection with the Gateway Foundation, promising to deliver a massive structure capable of housing up to 1,250 people either before their descent to Earth aboard a shuttle or before a journey into space. Imagine an ultra-futuristic hostel where travelers are constantly moving to other destinations, in this instance Earth or outer space. A little bit different to Thailand on Gap Year. OAC, the manufacturing partner of the Gateway Foundation, premiered the Voyager Station virtual build during an online PR event in January 2021. Since then, the company has already achieved its initial funding milestone of $1 million to begin the project, which is just a fraction of the costs needed to complete the project. The story so far. The Gateway Foundation was established in 2012 by a man named John Blinkow. The initial idea was to try and kickstart the space industry, which at the time was going through a major shakeup with the addition of SpaceX, into a thriving, bustling sector of commerce. The plan first focused on the construction of a giant spaceport, or as we now know it, the Gateway, which according to Blinkow would be the important first steps to colonizing space and other worlds. Orbital Assembly Corporation was then founded by the Gateway Foundation team in 2018 as a means to make it all happen. However, the idea of the spaceport predates anything Blinkow and the team has imagined. Way back in 1895, a Russian rocket scientist named Konstantin Tsiolkovsky had originally theorized the idea of a rotating building to replicate gravity that would contain a greenhouse and make use of solar power. Later, during the 1950s, legendary aerospace engineer Werner Von Braun had also spoke about giant rotating ships to replicate gravity. That went on to inspire the 1964-2001 A Space Odyssey by Arthur C. Clarke. It has taken more than 120 years for those ideas once thought of by scientists in the 1900s to finally become close to reality. The Gateway Foundation and OAC now boast a team of skilled NASA veterans, pilots, engineers, and architects, and propose to assemble its space motel in low Earth orbit that rotates at such a speed that astronauts, engineers, and maybe private individuals can walk freely aboard the spaceport and feel a form of gravity similar to that of the moon. So what will it look like? Despite being almost 70 years ago, Werner Von Braun and Konstantin Tsiolkovsky were not far off the mark with their circular design. The 488-meter-wide wheel-shaped spaceport will spin at such a speed that it could generate gravity that would more or less replicate the gravity found on the moon. For anyone that's played Halo, it would be a much smaller version of the rings. If, without meaning to sound pessimistic, Voyager did become the first commercial spaceport, OAC and the Gateway Foundation claimed that initially it would be able to fit 400 people on it. For size comparison, an average hotel capacity, according to Statistica, is around 300 rooms, or around 600 people. When the construction is fully completed, however, and certified, the place would be able to have as many as 1,250 people aboard the station. This futuristic technological marvel is planned to feature facilities such as themed restaurants, viewing platforms, theaters, bars, libraries, gyms, and a spa. Due to the artificial gravity, it will also feature running water, flushing toilets, and allow people to run and jump, albeit not quite the same as on Earth, with gravity around 1/6 that of what we're all used to. Before rotation can begin, or in fact before people can start arriving, OAC must first establish the necessary core structure and perform a lot, and we mean a lot, of testing first. In conjunction to that, rocket companies like SpaceX, Rocket Labs, and Blue Origin will need to have absolutely nailed their reusable rocket designs to safely bring people back to Earth every single time without failure. How will it be built? The spaceport, as you might have guessed, will be built in stages. The current plan is to begin with a small-scale prototype section, as well as separate microgravity sections to test the concept actually works in space. When the concept is proven and the tech is working, OAC will deploy what they call a Structured Truss Assembly Robot, or STAR, which will assemble the structure of the station, whilst in orbit. Of course, before spending billions on sending things into space, the company will first conduct test assembly here on Earth. As it currently stands, STAR is being commissioned and will soon be shipped to California, where it will undergo a series of tests, one of which will be to construct almost 300 meters of support section in under 90 minutes. To sit alongside the STAR, OAC are also building a viewing robot that will display a bird's-eye view of the space construction site, so the ground teams can oversee the operations in space and correct any errors in real time if needed. Of course, before a hotel can start accepting guests, especially ones situated in space, significant testing needs to be performed to ensure the systems and processes actually work for people who want to stay aboard the station. OAC will need to test the artificial gravity rings here on Earth first, as we mentioned, but later plan on building a prototype gravity ring in low Earth orbit to try and replicate the forces found on Mars, around 40% as strong as gravity on Earth. The ring is planned to be around 60 meters in diameter, and will form the research platform for the next stages of the project. To accompany the LEO gravity ring, the company also plans on launching P-STAR, or Prototype Structural Truss Assembly Robot. Hopefully, if things go according to plan, in as little as 3 years the company could have an operational research platform and an operating artificial gravity ring in space. I don't know about you, but that sounds awesome, right? What about getting to space in the first place? While there has been no official confirmation on several occasions, Tim Alatorre, senior designer architect, has mentioned SpaceX. During the January conference, Alatorre had stated, "We haven't seen an explosion of commercial activity in space," Alatorre said. The cost has been about $8,000 per kilogram for a long time, but with the Falcon 9 you can now do it for less than $2,000, and as Starship comes online, it will only cost a few $100s. As we know from previous videos, Starship poses to launch massive payloads into space, up to 100 tons, so it would make sense that OAC and the Gateway Foundation focus on partnering with companies like SpaceX, whose entire business model revolves around getting things into space. Over to you. Does this all sound like fantasy, or has someone finally had the courage to do something wildly different and capitalize on emerging space technologies? Do you think we'll soon have space highways and a flow of traffic to and from other worlds, all using the Gateway as their stopgap between outer space and Earth? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the bell icon and the subscribe button, smash that like button, and as always, stay strange, everybody!